So I want to do a short video on sycophants and simps and the connection between the two and maybe Harvey Weinstein, because he just got 23 years of prison. Now, I'm sure he can appeal that and whatever and get off for good behavior and serve probation, and I'm sure he'll try to work something out there. That's always how it works. It's harsh up front and then they smooth it out over the years. That's because the public can only keep their attention on something for so long, and the concept of justice is founded in revenge, right? It's about appeasing the masses and forcing the monopoly on violence of the state by removing the power of vengeance from the individual and putting it in the hands of the state. But this question of simps and sycophants, let's define these terms. So everyone knows a simp is a guy who's sucking up to a woman, flattering a woman, worshiping a woman, idolizing a woman, in the hopes that this kind of behavior, this simpish behavior, is going to impress her and cause her to be attracted to the man in some way, to give the man some little crumb of attention in some way. That's what he values. Now, what has been ignored is that men can do this with men. With men, we don't usually call it simping. We usually call it being a sycophant or a sycophant, depending on how strong you're feeling on the A today. But a sycophant or a sycophant is essentially a man who simps for men. And is that better? Is that worse? I guess it depends on the context. If someone is simping for a woman over her beauty, goddamn, look at that broad, she's so beautiful, I'd give my left toe for her. If that kind of simping has existed for a very long time, I'm not endorsing it, but there is a kind of simplicity to it. It's not a very complex procedural, symptom of men's sexuality to just be like, oh, she's so hot, I would do anything, man. Oh man, I'd leave my wife, and oh man, all these kinds of this kind of locker room talk that guys engage with, where they're not literally going up to the woman and saying, oh, I think you're so beautiful, I'm ready to leave my wife and kids for you. It's more of a guy to guy sort of thing, which again, I'm not entirely comfortable with, but at least on a societal level, you can see the way in which that kind of 1950s style simping can exist and not be as destructive as other forms of simping. And I actually do think that in certain ways, the male-on-male simping is more destructive than the male-on-female simping. Because the way that male-on-male simping happens is you have some kind of man, some kind of personality, and for instance, a YouTube content creator. And the YouTube content creator puts out videos, and certain people see the videos and they say, oh, this is good, I like this. This is an interesting point that you made, and I disagree with you here, and sort of the measured response, measured tone, interacting and discussion and that sort of thing. That's all good. That's good stuff. That's what I'm here for. But then you get these simps and these sycophants who are saying things like, oh my gosh, you're the best ever, you're the smartest guy alive, and I love you. And then it turns on a dime. And then it becomes your guests are ugly, and they're I don't even want to get into the specifics, but you're evil, and I'd love to slap you, and I'm gonna issue death threats to your cohort. And it's like, whoa, where did this turn on a dime come from? What's going on here? And what's going on is that the simping and the sycophantry was never real, right? It was a tactic to gain attention by men who are narcissistic and who see someone getting attention, and they feel jealous because they think, well, people should pay attention to me. but they disguise their jealousy with simping. And they say, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then they can turn on a dime. That can turn on a dime from I love you into I hate you and you're ugly. And then you prod them about it. And like, seems like psychopathic behavior. What's going on? Oh, it was just a joke, bro. It was just a joke, bro. I'm just memeing. I'm just being ironic. I don't actually really believe that's a very kind thing to do that friends do. I mean, if you're great friends with someone, you might develop a code of irony which is extremely explicit and well understood. But if we're talking about the internet, where irony and sarcasm is indecipherably distinctive from just honest, genuine talk, then it's like you're sort of comparing apples to oranges when you say, well, me and my best friend, we insult each other all the time, but we understand, we're best friends, and we sort of understand when it's an insult, when it's not an insult. The internet's not like that. People don't understand that, lack social awareness, and when they engage in this kind of simping and sycophantry, I think there is an underlying sadistic psychological mechanism of jealousy, and it can turn on a dime. These people are dangerous. They are destructive. They come in, they are all flowers and roses and milk and honey, and then they turn on a dime, and then they destroy you. And this is what beta males do with women. This is what the Elliot Rodgers scorned. Those women, I worship them, and they didn't recognize me, and I'm going to wreak my revenge. He's having this narcissistic rage moment, and when it's male on female, we sort of see that for what it is. But then there are men who, because they don't feel jealous of women, or they're whatever, they don't have that gendered problem, but they can still do it with other men. And it's disturbing, and it's destructive. And the interesting thing about Harvey Weinstein is that he was a simp. He was, if you actually read the stories about him, about what he did, he was like, oh, would you please watch me masturbate into this ficus plant? Oh, just stand there a little while longer. And he's masturbating into the ficus plant, or, would you please let me go down on you? I just would really like to go down on you. And the woman's like, in the court proceeding, she's like, and I felt very uncomfortable with this, and it was like a rape, and oh gosh, and whereas if it was Brad Pitt, it was like, Brad Pitt, he grabbed me and he ripped off my clothes and he began making passionate love to me. Compare and contrast the two and what's being called rape and what's not being called rape. Of course, the Brad Pitt scenario is hypothetical. And the reason it's hypothetical is because women don't really report that. Women don't, at this point, if a woman was grabbed off the street and kidnapped by Brad Pitt and ravished, I don't think she would ever, bring that to court. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't, I'm not in touch with the female psychology, but it seems to me like what really upsets women is not the idea of the strong alpha dominant male grabbing them and ravishing them, but it's Harvey Weinstein using his power and his privilege and his simpery. Oh, you're so beautiful. I'm going to make you a star. You're going to be in my movie. This is a classic Hollywood tactic. This is like a Woody Allen tactic of the nervous, neurotic, beta merchant. He's very powerful. He's very rich, but he doesn't have any of those inherent masculine qualities that are deeply attractive to women. In fact, he's kind of disgusting. And so he manipulates these women using favors, using flattery. It's not very often that he uses beatings or violence. None of these women are accused of being beaten by Harvey Weinstein. He didn't even drug any of them, as far as I know. There was very little, if no coercion at all. Maybe we can, again, there's so many accusations that we could comb through all of them, but the general gist, the general theme is like, this was a guy who I guess wasn't a complete masochist. He wasn't asking to be whipped and all the rest. But he's not the most aggressive masculine guy. And these women saw an opportunity to say, and I didn't really like that. And he wasn't very handsome. He wasn't very charismatic, in bed. He was weird. And that made me feel weird. Whereas if a strong, confident, charismatic man goes and does what he did, totally different situation. So Harvey Weinstein is a simp. He's a simp because he spent his time and energy on these women, pursuing these women. Probably has to do something with his mother at some point. Also, the fact that none of these women were Jewish is interesting. And yet he put himself in all these submissive situations like, oh, I want to eat you out and I want to go down on you and I want you to watch me. Like Louis C.K. I just want you to watch me, please. Please don't move. I just want to finish. Like, it's very submissive. It's very passive. It's like, I want to be watched. So think about the term male gaze there. He's turning around the male gaze. He's inverting the gender relation. And, okay. All right, that's fine. Everybody's fine. We're all good here. That's pretty much what I had to say about the general thing. That there are men who are sycophants toward women, and we call them simps. But there are also men who are sycophants toward men. And that's equally, if not more, dangerous and destructive. It's a very strange, not just a personality type, but I just think it's a general behavior that people engage with. And certainly if you stretch things over a long enough time period, I'm sure you can think of people that you maybe respected in the past, and now you've come to disrespect them, even resent them or whatever. So the idea that people can change from liking to disliking a person is not like unique to some kind of psychological aberration. But when it's happening over the course of days, weeks, months, or hours and minutes, in fact, in this delocalized internet environment where the irony and sarcasm is layered with a kind of Schrodinger quantum field of like, it's just a joke, bro. But that phrase, it's just a joke, bro, is itself a joke, is itself ironic, and in fact, the rest is genuine. The rest is what's real. The idea that we live in an ironic culture at this point is ironic. The idea that people are saying things ironically, that's the irony. Because what they're saying is actually genuine and true. But I think that's pretty much all I had to say. Short video today. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.